The event decorating industry is so saturated. It's overly saturated in my area. This is what I've been hearing a lot lately. If you think that, I want to challenge your perspective in this video. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Lanyel Kuzar, and I am the owner of Yes Event Academy. I teach people just like you, people who love to decorate events. I teach them how to start their own business and start booking clients. So let's talk about the event industry because my business has been open now for 7 years and I have a slightly different perspective on the event decorating industry. But before we get into it, let me just make this statement. Yes, there are a lot of people out here who love to decorate events. You are not the only one. I have noticed that there are a lot of event decorators, but I don't look at it as the industry is overly saturated. I look at it as a revolving door. This is how I look at it. So, when you go into those restaurants and there's those doors that just keep moving, right? And you have to like hop in, like it's double dutch. You have to hop in to get in there. That is how I see the event decorating industry. It's like a constant door that keeps revolving. There's always new people coming into the industry, always new people coming into the industry. But you know what? There's also people going out of the industry. So there was a time during COVID where I seen a lot of new event decorators come into the industry. There was a lot of new balloon artists. Everybody like got really excited about opening an event decorating business. But unfortunately, I seen a lot of people go out of the industry as well. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Some people start an event decorating business and then they move on to a different type of business. Some people start an event decorating business on the side and then they get a big promotion at their job. And so now they're just focusing on their 9 to 5. Then some people start an event decorating business and they just do it for a time and they say, you know what, I'm good on that, right? So I don't see the event decorating industry as being overly saturated. When you have that image in your mind, it's like you're in a room and you're packed in that room with a whole bunch of people, right? And you're trying to squeeze in there with a whole bunch of people. That's not the image that I see. That's not the perception that I have of the event decorating industry. It's not that it's overly saturated. It's that it's a revolving door. There's always new people coming into the industry. But like I said, there's also people who go out of the industry. Now, I can already hear you thinking, well, I know so many people who decorate events. There's people at my job, there's people at my church, there's people in my neighborhood, there's people in my family. Everybody's decorating events. Let me say this. There are a lot of people who say that they decorate events. There's not as many people who actually have a business, a profitable business at that, and they decorate events. So there's a difference between decorating events as a hobby and decorating events as a business. You will run into a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people. It seems like everybody and their mama does balloons. I'm always running into somebody. As a matter of fact, my son's girlfriend's mother just told me that she also does balloons, right? I'm always running into people who decorate events. But that does not mean that they do it professionally. There's a lot of people who just do it as a hobby because they love to decorate, right? So when you are just talking to people in passing, don't get discouraged just because somebody else loves to decorate events too. And they say, hey, I do events, right? Doing events, doing balloons is a lot different than actually owning your own business and earning a living from it. So for me, I tell people I don't do balloons. I run a business. And here's the thing. If you're on social media, so if you're on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, You may be seeing people on those pages, on those platforms that are decorating events. So in your head, you're thinking, oh, the market is overly saturated. Guys, do not believe everything that you see on social media. Let me tell you. So there was a point in time where my business was slow. My business was slow. I wasn't booking clients. So I was on Instagram and I'm looking on everybody else's page that I see that's decorating. And I'm looking on their page and it looks like everybody else is booked and busy. So now I'm thinking to myself, like, well, what's wrong with me? Because everybody else is booked and busy. And here it is, I'm slow. Here's the thing, some of those people on social media were reposting events. They were reposting events that they had in the past. So it wasn't that they were out there decorating events. They weren't booked and busy. They just had more content than I did. They had more videos of their work than I did. Now, here I was comparing my business to somebody else's business. They were just as slow as me. It's just their content made it seem like they were decorating events. They were just posting events that they had already posted before. They weren't busy. Another thing that I have noticed about social media, not to put people's business out there, but there's a lot of people who post on social media that they're decorating, they're booked and busy, and they're really out here decorating for their family and friends. These are not paid clients. These are not people who are actually booking them for events. Please don't get caught up in social media. Please don't get caught up in social media because everything that you see on there is not straightforward, right? It can be deceptive at times. So I want to challenge you because whenever I hear someone say that the market is overly saturated, the event decorating industry is overly saturated, usually that's coming from a place of frustration or it's coming from a place of doubt. So why are you doubting your business? Why are you frustrated? I know for me, whenever I get frustrated with my business and I start comparing and I start feeling like, okay, what's going on? Usually it's because I have to get out of my own head and come up with a plan. So I can tell you, and I'm going to talk about this more in my next video, I can tell you in this event decorating industry, you have to market your business. You have to market your business aggressively. You have to network. A lot of the people who book me for my events and they keep coming back to me, it's because I was networking. This person referred me to this person, and then this person referred me to this person, right? It's a lot of networking. You have to get out and put yourself in front of people, which I completely understand. That is hard and it's scary. It is scary, right? To put yourself out there, to put your business out there, to put your decorations out there, to put yourself out there for people to judge you, for people to look at your work and make a decision. But guess what? The worst thing that they can say is no. That's it. Like when you put yourself out there and you volunteer your services or you put your business out there for somebody to book you, the worst they can say is no. But we'll talk about that more in my next video. How do you differentiate your business? How do you put yourself out there, even if you are in an overly saturated market? Because let me tell you, I am in an overly saturated market. Whenever you live in a big city, you're going to be in an overly saturated market. So if you're here in the US, if you live in New York, if you live in the DC area, if you live in Atlanta, if you live in Dallas or in Texas, right? If you live in the LA area, if you live in Miami, these are areas that are overly saturated because there's a lot of people living there. There's plenty of doctors, there's plenty of nurses, there are plenty of dentists, right? There's plenty of lawyers. If you live in a city, a big city, chances are every industry is going to be overly saturated. Why? Because there's a lot of people. Whenever you live in a big city and there's a lot of people, there's a lot of people who are going to have businesses, right? So let's say your child comes to you and they say, I want to be a doctor when I grow up. Are you going to say to them, well, there's already a whole bunch of doctors? There's already so many people who are doctors. I don't think that you should do that. No, you're not going to say that. You're going to tell them, yep, I love it. Love it. You are going to be a good doctor. I cannot wait, right? You're going to encourage your child. It's the same thing with event decorating. Just because there's a lot of decorators in your area, or there's a lot of people in the event decorating industry, does not mean that there is no place for you, okay? But here's the thing, it all starts up here. It all starts up here. If all you see is that the market is overly saturated, then you'll think that there's no place for you and there's no opportunities. If you think to yourself, you know what? I'm going to make a way. I'm going to find my customers. I'm going to put myself out there and I'm going to make it, right? If you see opportunity, if you think there's opportunity, then you'll go find it. So that's the reason why I want to challenge you in this video. I want to challenge your perception of the market is overly saturated. I want you to think, even if the market is overly saturated, how am I going to make it? How am I going to do this, right? Like, I don't want you to say the market is overly saturated and put a period there. I want you to say the market is overly saturated and then put a comma there. But, right? The comma, not the period. When I look at the event decorating industry, all I see is opportunity, especially if you're working on balloons. Especially if you're doing like balloon backdrops, balloon garlands, those type of decorations. All of that stuff is relatively new. It just came out in like the last 10 to 15 years. So for me, I see nothing but opportunity, because when an industry is that new, there's so much room for it to grow, right? There's so much room for it to grow. I think that this event decorating industry is just going to continue to take off. It's going to continue to innovate and bring new things. So I see nothing but opportunity when it comes to this event decorating industry. But that's not because of me. That is because God has blessed me with so many great ideas, right? So that's the thing. For me, I just feel like when you are on God's path for your life, He will bless you and continue to bless you with ideas. It's up to you. It's up to you to walk in those ideas, right? It's up to you to actually have the courage and the faith to move on those ideas. So for me, I see the event decorating industry as a revolving door. It's a revolving door. And just like those revolving doors that are at the restaurants, you just have to walk in it. You just have to walk in it. And for me, I have stayed on this revolving door for 7 years now. And that's the great thing about the event decorating industry. You decide when you walk in it, but you also can decide when you walk out. Okay? So in my next video, we are going to talk about what you should do to make your business stand out if you are in an overly saturated market. So if you just can't get past the thought of being in an overly saturated market, if you are thinking to yourself, yeah, Lanyel, I hear you, but the market is still saturated. In my next video, I'm going to give you some tips on how to stand out. All right? So thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in my next video.